Hi, guys. So you're all here to learn. You have advice that you're seeking. And you probably hear a lot of terms like incubators, accelerators, investors, and all of them say that they can help you. So today we're going to talk about incubators specifically and how they can help you grow your brand and get more advice and connect with the people that you need to learn from. We're really lucky today to have joining us Zoe Feldman, who's the director of the Chobani Incubator, newly minted director of the Incubator. So come on up.
Hi. Hi. Thank you, Carol, for that wonderful introduction. So my name is Zoe Feldman. I have been in the industry for my whole career, which is 12 glorious years. I actually started out my career at Pepsi, where I spent about 8 years sort of on and off in the New York office. I've been based in New York my whole career. And then I actually moved into venture capital, so speaking about investors, and helped manage 2 separate VCs, family office in Chicago that had $100 million of capital, founded by former McDonald's chairman and CEO Don Thompson, and then helped co-found a fund in New York that was a $30 million investment vehicle about a year and a half ago. And I actually left that job in August and decided I really want to get back into the business side of the business, out of investing, which is a topic of conversation I'm happy to discuss with anybody, not right now at this exact moment in time. But so my background is pretty robust in finance, strategy, operations for consumer packaged goods, food and beverage businesses, and then in venture investing, diligence, everything that kind of goes along with that. And I am really lucky because my predecessor, Jackie Miller, who was the first director of the Incubator, is a friend of mine, and we were sort of chatting over the summer when I was thinking about leaving my fund. And she had mentioned to me she was actually kind of exiting Chobani, and we had a really long sort of language conversation about what the Incubator was, what they were looking for sort of in a new director, what the program was going to be like in the future, and all of it just really resonated with me. So I am here to kind of give you a background, a bit of history, and then explain to you a bit about the program and what it looks like and what it means, and kind of answer any questions that you might have about it. So it was, and again, to Carol's point, there are venture capital funds and private equity, and those are investment vehicles. Chobani is not that. Chobani is a privately held business, found, owned, and operated by a single individual, Hamdi, who I'm sure some of you have heard of, seen talks on, read articles on. He's a pretty extraordinary individual. So it's a privately held food business, which is quite unusual in this day and age. It's one of 2 that are of a certain size in the industry. And he really founded the business. He's a founder's founder. And he founded the business 10 years ago. Chobani is celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year. And he created this incubator about 2.5 years ago with the hope and desire to create a vehicle that was equity-free to help other founders. So what does that mean? It means that any business, CPG, F&B, based in the US, that's focused on better food for more people, so similar to Chobani's DNNA, delicious, nutritious, affordable, accessible, and overall democratic access to food in this country is sort of the crux of what Chobani is about and what it stands for. And that's the crux of what the Incubator is about and what it stands for. So the program was created about 2.5 years ago out of his personal vision to pay it forward for founders and entrepreneurs and operators in the CPG food and beverage industry, similar to his own mission and vision. So, did I press green? Great. You can tell I do this often. So, Chobani believes in the power of food as a force for good, very apparent in everything that the core business does. The Incubator launches the next generation of heroes for that mission, which is a way of just essentially explaining everything that I just said in a very succinct sentence. So how it works. It is an incubator by definition, incubates. The Chobani Incubator was the first one in the broader F&B industry to really come out with very robust programming, and it really is incredible. I parachuted in 6 weeks ago, so forgive me if you have questions. I don't know the answers to them. My 2 colleagues from the Incubator are also in town, and they'll be around over the next couple of days if there's a question you have that I can't answer. Essentially, the program looks for innovative early-stage companies in the vein that I just sort of explained to you. We provide an equity-free capital of $25,000, get together monthly across the country. So in the New York City offices in Soho, which is where we're based, there are 2 manufacturing facilities, one in upstate New York and one in Twin Falls, Idaho, for mentorship from leaders in a multidisciplinary fashion. So operations, finance, strategy, design, marketing, branding, as well as an extended network of retailers, investors to help the businesses grow. So just a quick sort of aside on that, the 4th cohort just ended. So at this point, there have been over 30 companies in the past 2.5 years. And essentially the cycle is sort of like it's a 3-month cycle of applications being open and then applications getting closed and us taking a couple months to sort of sift through and choose the companies. And we've sort of chosen 6 as the ideal number of companies that we want to be involved because we feel like that's a really ideal number of individuals that can sort of benefit from what the incubator has to offer. More than 6 companies, it tends to be a little bit too many people. So yeah. What do we look for? So are you the Chobani of X? So everybody always hears, are you the Uber of this or the Lyft of this or the Airbnb of this? Are you the Chobani of this is essentially the way of saying, are you a company that believes in Hamdi and Chobani's mission of DNNA, which is delicious, nutritious, natural, and accessible? So again, that idea of can you democratize better food for all? That's pretty critical to any company that is interested in potentially applying for and being accepted into the incubator. What does your team and talent look like? So again, there have been over 30 companies that have participated so far, and we just wrapped up cohort 4 2 weeks ago in New York. And you don't have to come from the food industry. You don't have to have a ton of experience. You can be a brand new founder. Obviously, we have a tremendous amount of diversity in terms of age, background, talent, geography. We're really open to all sorts of individuals and businesses, and especially when it comes to talent, really sky's the limit. And the growth potential and product market fit, essentially what kind of category or subcategory you're playing in. Is it something, again, that's middle of the road? Maybe you're redoing a product, it's a better version of a product that already exists. Maybe it's something totally new and hot that's very trendy that we really think has a strong ingredient play or a cool and interesting twist on supply chain or logistics. Those are sort of the things that we're looking for. And to that point around innovation, is it better for you? Is it purpose-driven? Is there some kind of social impact? So again, not totally around ingredient or category trend, but are there other things that are good differentiators of the product or of the founders that will make you a good fit for the incubator programming? So some alumni highlights, you've probably seen several, if not all of these businesses. So Bonza, Kettle and Fire, Misfit, Chloe's Fruit, Snow Monkey, and Peak Tea Crystals are all part of not any of this prior class, but of the 3 that came prior to this year. So the way the selection process works, I realize I just didn't explain that. The way the selection process works is essentially our applications for spring 2019 are opening next week. So I have some information about that. I also have some cards I can give to you, but the website is chobaniincubator.com. The applications open next week. And we give you 3 months to apply. You have to submit a 90-second video and then sort of a more boilerplate form with a lot of questions about the business to really understand whether or not your business is the right fit for the incubator. And one of the biggest questions is, are you willing to travel? And Chobani, again, it's an equity-free $25,000 grant. We pay for all of your travel. It's 1 week a month for 3 months. And it's in a variety of different locations. But you're going to be alongside 5 amazing companies in your cohort. And you're learning from probably about 75% of the people from whom you're learning are internal experts that are multidisciplinary from Chobani. So the VP of sales, the head of R&D, the head of innovation, the global head of branding, Hamdi himself. There's a tremendous amount of talent within the business. And a lot of those people sit in New York, and then we do take you to both South Ed and Upstate New York, as well as Twin Falls, Idaho, to the manufacturing facilities, where you meet the incredible operators of the business. And then about 25% of people are external, so service providers, mentors from packaging design, branding, finance. I think especially now with sort of me coming in and taking over this role, really understanding what does finance look like, what is venture capital, when do you start thinking about raising money, how does it even work? Sort of like an ask me anything. And it's really become, I mean, in my opinion, again, I've only been in this job for 6 weeks, and I feel very, very lucky to have gotten this job. But even prior to taking this job, I was just so impressed. I went to a couple of the sessions, and I just thought, you know, the people internally at Chobani have so much institutional knowledge, and they're very, very good people, and they're so more than willing to continue to help all of their alumni companies as kind of programming moves on and everybody wraps up their 3 months. There's a lot of longitudinal assistance, which is unusual in this industry. So again, what does the programming look like? So you have customized workshops. I actually don't know who that is, because obviously I was not part of Chobani when this photo was taken. But you have customized workshops with both internal and external parties and mentors. You have the mentor rotations, where you actually are assigned a one-on-one, you know, individual to whom you can have conversations on a fairly regular basis, whether it's operations or supply chain or having a problem with distribution and you want to speak to somebody who has really good knowledge of a distribution network in a local market. They have all those experts. We have all those experts available to you. Doing site visits at plants, field trips to retailer offices and stores, which is always very fun. Everybody really seems to enjoy that. I love a good retail visit, so I'm very excited about that. Trade show gatherings, hence us being here, and demo day for investors and retailers. So essentially at the end of the program, you do get the opportunity to pitch your business in front of a group of fairly curated investors from venture, family office, some private equity, seed, early stage investors, things like that. So some of the curriculum topics, again, everything that's important for your business: sales, marketing, manufacturing, finance, operations, HR and talent. The head of HR at Chobani will come and do a session about hiring and talent and you know, everything around people resources, which is actually incredibly interesting and I think really critical, and sometimes people don't necessarily think about that. So it's very robust in terms of programming. And because they decided that doing that twice a year wasn't enough, they actually added a food tech residency for 2018. And again, I have parachuted in the last 6 weeks, so I'm just getting caught up. But I would actually refer to it more as just a tech residency in general, and it's about bringing tech entrepreneurs to the front lines of food manufacturing. And 2 companies were chosen. One is actually solar energy, and one is an enzyme business based out of Northern California that's run by 2 PhDs who are way smarter than I will ever be, who have created an enzyme that naturally cleans tanks and piping. So obviously for 2 huge manufacturing facilities, one of which is the largest yogurt processing and manufacturing plant in the world, those are 2 really good tech, kind of back-end tech products to be able to have available to you. So the food tech residency is a little different. They're still going in their process, but they do participate in some of the programming that CPG does, but quite frankly, they need more of the operations, supply chain logistics, plant connections, because they're much more operationally focused. They're not consumer facing, so it's a bit different. But so far, that has been absolutely fascinating, and I look forward to us being able to sort of hone down on that a little more and offer some more programming around that probably in the summer of 2019. Better food for more people is what Hamdi personally believes in. It's what the Incubator stands for. And if that's something that your business is doing, if that's something you're interested in, and if you have the ability and willingness to travel to New York, which is like a pretty nice place to be most of the time, we would love to have you apply. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. And again, if I can't answer them, my 2 colleagues who have been there longer than 6 weeks can answer probably anything that I can't. Oh, one more thing. Forgot about this slide, sorry. So this is actually really important. I think with a lot of incubator programs, the biggest question that all of you will have, and with investors as well, is, to Carol's point, what can you do for me? Because everybody says they can do things for you, but really, what can anyone do for you? The Incubator has had incredible KPIs, and one of the biggest things that has impressed me during my tenure over the last 6 weeks has been percentage of growth for alumni companies for distribution and quarterly revenue. And I've seen the numbers myself, and it's pretty extraordinary. You know, obviously part of it is also just time, and the companies are growing over time, but there have been over 150 mentors engaged over the past 2 years in the past 4 cohorts, internal and external, and 650 applications are typically received per class for 6 companies that end up getting chosen into the cohort. So it's very competitive, but As you can see, I think the numbers speak for themselves, and it's been very successful as far as KPIs have gone and growth metrics in businesses, and all the alumni companies are very close with each other, and it seems like this is going to be something that continues into the future. So I'm very proud, and I feel very, very lucky and grateful that I'm now in this position, and I would love to be able to talk to you all about it, whatever questions you have. I'm not good at presentations, I'm sorry. I'm so bad at this.
I think you were great.
Thank you so much.
So I think we have time for one question.
Great. Sorry. It's fine.
Okay. I'm not a great question asker.
You and I can both be unsuccessful together right now.
Awesome. So, just technicalities. If you have a co-founder or you have a team and you're doing different pieces of it, is it like one person is in the
Good question. No, so
program,
it's
or
actually
you can send your team?
No, you can send your team. So typically for all, again, for most startups that are small, under a couple million in revenue, I've never met one that has more than like 5 people, but if you do, good for you, that's great. You are more than welcome to bring as many people as you'd like. We typically have not seen more than 3 people, I think just because simple math and numbers, but yeah, it doesn't have to be just you. It can be up to 3 people per team, per company.
I want that team too.
Sounds good.
Well, I think that's it for now, but I know you'll be sticking around for the next couple days. Like you've said, Chobani team will be here and be happy to answer those questions.
Thank you. Appreciate you.